Hello and welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture we are going to learn a better way to render those templates which we have created in the previous lecture. So in the previous lecture we actually learned about templates and how to create a template. Now there is a better way of actually rendering those templates. So we are going to exactly learn that. So what you need to do is that you need to first import something which is called as render. So you need to type in from Django.shortcuts import render. So render is actually a function which actually consists of the rendering function as well as the HTTP response inbuilt. So once you have this thing with you, what you could do is that you could go ahead and you could delete the HTTP response over here. So go ahead and delete that and instead type in render, and to this render function you pass in the request first. So you type in request, and then you actually need to type in this thing which is the URL. So instead of passing in the template here, what you could simply do is that you could just copy this thing, go right here and paste it over here. So you are free to delete this thing right here. So you simply need to delete that, and right after this you simply need to pass in the context. So you simply pass in context over here. And once you are done with this, you could save the code, and when you go to the web browser and even if you refresh this thing now, as you could see, the things remain unaltered because the render function actually does the same job as the HTTP function does, but it actually does it in a better way because this render function actually has HTTP response as well as the render function in itself. So instead of typing in the HTTP response and then passing in the render function to the HTTP response, you could directly use the render function and you could pass in the request, which is nothing but this request right here. Then you could pass in the URL where your template is located. So our URL is books/index.html, and finally you need to pass in the context from here, and that is actually going to solve your problem, and that is actually going to work in a similar fashion like the HTTP response. So this was a quick and short lecture on how to basically use the templates or how to basically render templates in another way. So right now you don't need to use this import right here, so you could also go ahead and delete that. So in the next lecture what we are going to do is that we are going to learn what is the 404 error and how our web page could give up a 404 error if the requested page is not found. So thank you very much for watching this lecture, and I'll see you guys in the next lecture. Thank you.